Was that maybe just a game too far?
Well, I think we held our own. I mean, I think anybody saw the game. It's definitely not a 3-0 game, you know. So I think we held our own. We were very strong first half, and possibly, I mean, obviously having to go to Ibrox on Monday night, then another Premier League team here. It's difficult because it's pre-season. Maybe tiredness played its part, you know. The 3 goals were probably just a bit of slackness. And as I say, against a team like Motherwell with the quality of finishing they've got, we get punished, and that seems to be how it worked out, you know. But as I say, overall, the whole gameplay, I thought we held our own and we gave as good as we got. I say the difference was a clinical finish, and there were maybe individual mistakes that just cost us. And as I say, they punished us, and 2 late goals just kind of put the cherry on top for them. But it certainly was never a 3-0 game, and we're obviously disappointed to lose 3 at home. But as I say, we'll not come up against that quality week in and week out.
Looking at the overall campaign, Brian, you're quite pleased with going into the season, getting the league season?
Well, we're a wee bit more like I say in terms of our shape, and certainly first half, and as I say, it's a lot to ask them, you know, but we'll not make excuses. I've been tired or anything like that, you know. As I say, it's just concentration levels, and as I say, it just cost us a wee bit, and they punished us, unfortunately for us, you know. But we're maybe 1 or 2 still short in terms of numbers, and we'll try to bring a wee bit more quality in if we can, just to boost the squad, because we are a wee bit late at the moment, and next week we've got a couple of suspensions as well, so that'll leave us short again. So if we can add maybe 1 or 2 to it, we'll try and do that, but it's not easy to do that either.
Got the job done.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a little bit like the other games, you know. I think that, you know, we've made chances. It's taken us a while to take them, but eventually we got there. All round, I thought it was solid. The new players again showed well. They look as if they're fit, look as if they're ready for the start of the league programme. It's worried me a little bit that, you know, at times we've had to curtail training a little bit. You know, normally in pre-season you'd be training twice a day, probably at this stage maybe twice a week at least. And we've had to be careful at the end of the week on a Thursday, for instance, only to train once, because we don't want to leave them with nothing in their legs for games as important as this. But yet they still look as if they're up to speed, and I think the nature of these games has done that, you know, and I think that's what's made, you know, the changes that have been made to the competition work. You know, I think it has worked for us.
Are you happy with the shape you're in, looking ahead to next week?
Yeah, I think that, you know, we're obviously concerned that we've only got Scott McDonald, you know, and Scott come off with a tight thigh, nothing else. You know, Lou Moult won't be back until after the international break. Jacob Blythe is still to get really up and running. That concerns me a little bit, obviously, but, you know, with someone like Marvin and with Lionel, that we feel as if we can improvise a little bit in the middle of the park with Scotty, then, you know, we're okay. But I'd like to have the two other strikers available, but, you know, they'll come soon.
Carden's also given you goals in midfield, Mark, in the last 2 games. Does that give you some encouragement as well?
Yeah, well, you know, you feel as if Kaz should get goals. You know, he's got. I mean, his energy is boundless. You know, sometimes he's just got to, you know, channel his energy into productive things. Today he did. You know, he was terrific, particularly in the second half, and he's getting goals as well, which can only give him confidence. You know, he's grown into a player from, you know, coming into the team after Christmas. You know, and even last season looking like a lad that still didn't quite believe that he maybe should be, or that he is here in the first team. He's now a player that looks as if, you know, he's chasing the likes of Marvin Johnson, who's been getting a lot of man of the matches and that sort of thing. You know, he wants some of that. You know, he's ambitious, he's determined, and, you know, that's terrific, and he's a great asset for the team.